तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिते नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामो 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you all for our Harinam Chintamani class. So we had started the 7th chapter of this book last week. This is the fourth offense against the holy name, and this chapter is called Criticizing the Vedic Scriptures, Shruti Shastra Ninda. So this is also an offense against the holy names of the Lord, criticizing the Vedic scriptures, the Vedas or books related to the Vedas. So we discussed a couple of verses in which Bhaktivinoda Thakur quotes Haridas Thakur explaining Lord Chaitanya that how all the Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas are all coming from the breathing of Krishna. So we discussed this last time that just like in the previous chapter, before explaining how offending Guru is an offense against the holy name, he first explains the glories of the Guru. So similarly, in this chapter, he explains how Vedas are not ordinary, apurusheya. They are coming directly from Krishna. And therefore, the Vedic truths or the Vedic scriptures are the only truth. So he explains here, uh, the only way to understand Krishna is through the Vedas. Veda vina paramarte gati nahi haya. Without the Vedas, one cannot achieve perfection. So if someone says that, I have discovered some new path and it doesn't have reference to the Vedas, so such person cannot attain perfection. So Krishna very mercifully, for those who are imprisoned in this material world, he comes and gives us the Vedas. Maya Baddha Jive Krishna Bahu Kripa Kari Veda Puranadi Dila Arsar Jnana Dhari. So Krishna very mercifully comes us and gives us Veda, Purana and other scriptures in order to deliver us from the material imprisonment. Just like if someone is caught in a, in a dungeon, or someone is caught in a wrong place, he needs to find a map. How can I escape from this place? So this material world is like an engagement for all of us. In order to escape from this world, the Vedas give us the route how to escape. So then he continues that the Vedas principally speak about 10 teachings. This is called Dashamula Tattva, the 10 principal teachings of the Vedas. And out of the 10 teachings, the first teaching is that Vedas is the only source, the only praman, the only truth to understand Krishna is in the Vedic scriptures. So that is the first truth. And then the Vedas reveals the 9 truths to us. Pramana se Veda Vakya Nayati Prameya Shikaya Sambandha Prayojana Abhideya. So the Vedas is the first of the Dashamula Tattva is that the Vedas is the best Praman. Pramana se Veda Vakya Nayati Prameya. So this is the first Praman, the first truth, that Vedas is the only way in which we can understand Krishna. So now Vedas give us 9 principal teachings. And these 9 teachings are divided into 3 categories: Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan. Sambandha means the relationship between the living entities and the Lord. Abhideya means how to establish that relationship through bhakti. And Prayojan means the soul's ultimate need. We were discussing this also, that we are all looking for love, to give love and to receive love. So these are the 3 main divisions of the Vedas: Sambandh, Abhideya, Prayojan. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur also explained that how one should reject the Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda section of the Vedas and focus on pure bhakti. So this is also very important, that the Vedas have different sections, but it is not necessary for everyone to read all the sections of the Vedas, because most of the Vedic section speaks about Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda. Those who are looking for the highest teachings, they need not read all these sections. They read only those sections of the Vedas that describe pure bhakti. So we discussed till this point. We will continue from verse 12 onwards. E dasha moola sara avidya vinasha kariya jivere kare suvidya prakash. The 10 root teachings of the Vedas destroy the soul's ignorance and enlighten them with transcendental knowledge. So, E Dashamula Sar, the 10 principal teachings that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to explain here. What is the result of this? Avidya Vinasha. If we understand these 10 teachings of the Vedas, our ignorance will be destroyed. Kariya Jivera Kare Suvidya Prakash. So avidya is destroyed and suvidya, good knowledge, transcendental knowledge comes in our hearts. So real knowledge means understanding bhakti. That is suvidya, the rightful knowledge or the most beautiful kind of knowledge. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the footnote, he writes what the 10 Dashamula Tattva are. In the 10 root teachings of the Vedas, the first teaching is that the truth that the Vedas are the only source of knowledge. So the first of the Dashamula Tattva is that Vedas is the only true source of knowledge. The word only is very important. So if someone has to understand God, it is only through Shabda Praman. This is the only way. Only through following the Vedic literatures. Now, TK, you have understood that I can understand God only through Vedas. Now you will open the Vedas and see what the Vedas teach. So the Vedas give 9 other teachings. The other root teachings are the 9 teachings also mentioned here. Those 9 teachings are: number 1, Lord Krishna is the only supreme truth. So wherever you see the word only, this is a very important word. So the first Dashamula Tattva is Vedas is the only source to understand Krishna. There is no other source because it is coming from Krishna directly. Now if you open the Vedas, so now if you remove the now you look into the Vedas, you will find 9 teachings. The first of the teaching is Lord Krishna is the only supreme truth. Krishna is the only truth. The second teaching, second Dashamula Tattva, or the third Dashamula Tattva, sorry, or the second of the 9 teachings of the Vedas is his form is dark and handsome and he's the master of all potencies. Right? So Krishna, the first truth is that Krishna is the absolute truth. Second, he is the master of all potencies. Sarva Shaktishali, Sarva Shaktiman. The third teaching is his dark and handsome form is filled with the sweetest nectar. So the third principle is Krishna is Akila Rasamrita Murti. So the first is you understand that Krishna is the absolute truth. Then the next teaching of the Vedas is Krishna is very powerful. He has all strengths. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sharva Shaktis. Just like the Upanishad says, Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate. Swabhaviki Jnana Balak Kriyacha. So Krishna has unlimited potencies. He is the all-powerful. That is one aspect. But the more important aspect is, he is not only all-powerful, he is also very, very sweet. So generally, someone who is powerful, you feel awe and reverence towards him. You don't feel sweetness towards him. So Krishna is Aishwarya also, and he has Madhurya also. So Krishna is Akhila Rasamrita Murti. He's the personification of all bliss and all rasa, all nectar. Okay? His form is filled with the sweetest nectar. And then the numberless individual souls are spiritual atomic particles. They are separated part and parcels of Lord Krishna. This is the fourth truth, that there are unlimited living entities, ananta, infinite living entities. And all of us are part and parcel of Krishna. We are Vibhinnamsha. We are not Krishna. So I was recently reading Ramanujacharya's life. So Ramanujacharya, when he leaves his Mayavadi Guru Yadav Prakash, he's trying to study the scriptures on his own. So that time he approaches Kanchipurna, who's one great devotee of the Lord. And he tells Kanchipurna, now I don't have a teacher. I'm studying the scriptures on my own. Can you go and ask Varadaraj? I have some doubts. I want answers for all these doubts. Can you go and ask Lord Varadaraj? So Kanchipurna goes and asks Lord Varadaraj, and Lord Varadaraj tells Ramanuja few teachings. And it is very similar to these teachings. The Lord is telling Ramanujacharya. And one teaching is, the living entity can never become God. The living entity is always separated energy of Krishna. We are all part and parcel. We can never become the whole. Just like a drop of water and the ocean. Qualitatively same, but in terms of quantity, there is a difference. So this is the fourth teaching of the Vedas, that we are part and parcel of Krishna. The fifth teaching, the individual souls who have turned their faces from Krishna are imprisoned by Maya. So now, the fourth teaching speaks about Atma, Jivatma. There are unlimited Jivatma. Now, there are two categories of Jivatma. One category is the Jivatma who have turned their face away from Krishna. Bahirmukha. They have turned away from Krishna. And because they have turned away from Krishna, they are caught by Maya. They are imprisoned by Maya. So the fifth principle of the Vedas speak about conditioned souls. And the sixth teaching, the pure devotees are liberated, free from Maya's prison. But they are also pure living entities. Muktatma, they are liberated. They are not under the clutches of Maya. The seventh teaching, the individual spirit souls and the inert world of matter manifested by Lord's inconceivable potencies are eternally one and different from the Lord. So the seventh teaching is that the Atma and Prakriti, the Jada Prakriti, inert matter, they are coming from the Lord and they are one and different from the Lord. Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. Simultaneously one and different. Because they are coming from Krishna, they are one with Krishna, but still there is a difference. The eighth principle, Abhideya, means the 9 kinds of activities in devotional service to Lord Krishna. So the 9th teaching of the Vedas is Abhideya. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. The 9 processes of devotional service. And then finally, the 9th teaching is pure love for Lord Krishna is the true need, the true goal of life for the individual spirit soul. So the final teaching is, we are all looking for pure love, Krishna Prem. This is our most important need. And this is the only thing that will satisfy us. And this is the ultimate goal of life. The goal of life is not to become rich, but the goal of life is to become rich with love for Krishna. This is the goal of life. So these are the 9 teachings which he is going to explain now further. So we'll continue. Hari Eka Paratattva. So the first teaching is, Lord Krishna is the one supreme truth. Hari Eka Paratattva. There is no 2 Paratattva. There is only one truth. And what is that one truth? Lord Krishna. That is it. The second teaching is Tini Sarva Shaktiman. So this Lord Krishna is not an ordinary person. He may appear like an ordinary human being, but he is Sarva Shaktiman. Not just Shaktiman, Sarva Shaktiman. He possesses all potencies. And the third teaching is Tini Rasamurti. He is Shaktiman also, and he is Akhila Rasamrita Murti, filled with all rasa. Pratame Shikaya Paratattva Eka Hari, Shama Sarva Shaktiman Rasam Murti Dhari. The first teaching is that Lord Krishna is the one supreme truth. Ekala Ishwara Krishna, Ar Sababhratya. There is only one Krishna. There is only one supreme truth, that is Krishna. The first teaching is that Lord Krishna is that one supreme truth. His complexion is dark, Shama Sarva Shaktiman. He is the master of all potencies, and Rasa Murti Dhari. His form is sweet like nectar. Jivera Paramananda Karena Vidhan Samvyoma Dhamete Tar Nitya Adishtan. He delights the individual souls. He stays eternally in his abode in the spiritual sky. Jivera Paramananda Karena Vidhan. So the Lord gives all of us happiness. So we are all looking for happiness in this world, and that happiness is only possible in connection with God. Krishna is Paramananda, the source of all happiness. So if we remain in connection with Krishna, automatically we will experience happiness. Ramante yogino anante satyananda chidatmani. So the yogis, because they are constantly thinking of Krishna, they are experiencing satyananda chidatmani. So this world, also there is happiness, but the happiness in this world is mithya ananda, false happiness. Real happiness is in connection with Krishna. So that Supreme Lord eternally delights in the spiritual world. What is Krishna doing? Krishna is enjoying in the spiritual world, having pastimes with the devotees in the spiritual world. Etina prameya haya Shri Krishna vishaye Veda Shastra Shiksha Dena Jivere Hridaye. The Vedic scriptures place these three truths about Lord Krishna in the conditioned soul's hearts. So these first three teachings, Krishna is that one supreme truth. He is the master of all potencies. He is filled with all rasa. All these three teachings, the first three teachings, refer to Lord Krishna. Correct? Refers to that Supreme Lord. Now the next two teachings refer to, three teachings refer to the living entities. What is the fourth teaching of the Vedas? Jiva Tattva. So the first three teachings was Vishnu Tattva, right? Referring to that Supreme Lord. So the next three teachings refer to Jiva Tattva, the truth about individual spirit souls. Dvitiya Shikaya Vibinnamsha Jiva Tattva Ananta Sankhayaka Chit Paramanu Sattva. The second teaching concerns the individual spirit soul, Jiva. The individual spirit souls are separated potencies, Vibinnamsha of the Lord. There are infinitesimal spiritual spark. Their numbers are beyond counting. So this is some information about the living entities. First is that we are all separated parts. We are all parts of God, but separated parts. We don't fall under the category of Vishnu Tattva. And what is our size? Infinitesimal. Paramanu. Paramanu means atomic size, very small. And Ananta Sankhyak. That means we are unlimited. How many living entities are there? Unlimited living entities. Correct? Their numbers are beyond counting. Now the next truths also speak about the living entities. The two categories of living entities, Nitya Baddha, Nitya Mukta. The fifth teaching is Nitya Baddha, eternally conditioned. And the sixth teaching is Nitya Mukta Bhede Jiva Dui Prakar. Then sixth teaching speaks about eternally liberated, Nitya Mukta. And these are the two categories of living entities. Nitya Baddha, Nitya Mukta, Bhede Jiva Dui Prakar. Samvyoma Brahmande Bhari Samstiti Tahar. The individual spirit souls are of two kinds, eternally conditioned, Nitya Baddha, and eternally liberated, Nitya Mukta. These two kinds of souls reside in the material world and in the spiritual world respectively. So there are two kinds of living entities, Nitya Baddha who stay in the material world and Nitya Mukta who stay in the spiritual world. Now he explains a little about Baddha Jiva, the conditioned souls. Baddha Jiva Maya Bhaji Krishna Bahirmukha Ananta Brahmande Bhoga Kare Dukkha Sukha. So what is the definition of a conditioned soul who are caught in this world? Baddha Jiva Maya Bhaji. Instead of doing bhajan to Krishna, what are we doing? We are doing bhajan to Maya. Instead of worshipping Krishna, what we are worshipping? We are worshipping the things of this world. We are worshipping the pleasures of this world. Everyone is a worshipper. You are either worshipping Radha Krishna or you are worshipping Maya. But everyone is a worshipper. So the definition of a conditioned soul is Maya Bhaji. We have left bhajan to Krishna and we are coming in this world and doing what? Bhajan to Maya. We are serving the senses. We have become servants and slaves of the senses. Turning their faces away from Lord Krishna, the conditioned souls accept Maya. Bhaddha Jiva Maya Bhaji Krishna Bahir Mukha. We have turned our faces away from Krishna. We are rebelled against Krishna. So we have come in this world. We have accepted Maya. And what do we get? Ananta Brahmande Bhoga Kare Dukkha Sukha. In the endless material worlds, they suffer and enjoy. So is there pure happiness in this world? No. This world means duality, dvandva. Sometimes happiness, sometimes misery. Sukha, dukkha. We keep experiencing this. Just like the Upanishads give this example. We are like that bird who's there on this tree of samsara. We are tasting different fruits of our karma. Sometimes sweet fruit, sometimes sour fruit. We become happy, we become sad. Right? We are jumping from one branch to another, from one body to another, from one planet to another. And we are trying to enjoy, trying to find happiness. Where is that perfect fruit? But we have forgotten that perfect fruit is in the spiritual world. That is the perfect place. This is only a reflection. So this is the definition of a conditioned soul. What is the definition of a liberated soul? Mukta Jiva. Nitya Mukta Krishna Bhaji Krishna Parishad Paravyome Bhoge Kare Premera Sampada. The eternally liberated souls worship Lord Krishna. Nitya Mukta Krishna Bhaji. So those who are liberated worship Krishna and those who are conditioned worship Maya. Right? Nitya Mukta Krishna Bhaji Krishna Parishad. We are associates of Lord Krishna. Paravyome Bhoga Kare Premere Sampada. They enjoy blissful life in the spiritual world. They possess a great treasure of pure love for Lord Krishna. They are also trying to enjoy, and here living entity is also trying to enjoy. But the enjoyment in the material world is low standard. It is filled with misery. Adi anta vanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. So Krishna says, one should not run after material enjoyment because it will have an end. But the devotees who are in the spiritual world, paravyome bhoga kare, they are also enjoying. But they are enjoying a blissful life in the spiritual world. So if you want real happiness, not low standard happiness, high standard happiness, you have to enter into the spiritual world. And all of them possess a great treasure, Premera Sampada. So this is the greatest Sampada. This is the greatest wealth that we should have, Krishna Prem. But without that wealth, we are all completely poor. Prema vina vyartha daridra jivan, dasakari vetan more, deha premadan. Without Krishna Prem, we are all poor. But those who are in the spiritual world are completely rich. Tinati prameya ei jivera vishaye, shruti shastra shiksha dena Krishna dasi haya. The Vedic scriptures, which are Lord Krishna's maid servants, teach these three truths about individual spirit souls. So the first three teachings of the Vedas speak about Krishna. That Krishna is the supreme truth, Krishna is filled with all potencies, and Krishna has all rasa, Akila Rasamrita Murti. The next three teachings speak about living entity. How living entities are part and parcel of Krishna. Right? That is the first teaching. Second is there are two categories of living entities: eternally conditioned, eternally liberated. Right? And now what is the seventh teaching? Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva. The individual souls are inconceivably simultaneously one and different from the Lord. Achintya, inconceivable. Beda Abeda, simultaneous oneness and difference. Chid Vyapar ar Yata Jadera Vyapar Sakali Achintya Beda Abeda Prakar. Whether in the material world or the spiritual world, The individual spirit souls are all simultaneously inconceivably one and different from the Supreme Lord. So whether the living entities are there in this world or in the spiritual world, all the Atma, Jivatma, is one with God and still different. Jiva Jada Sarva Vastu Krishna Shakti Maya Avachintya Beda Beda Shruti Shastra Kaya. The individual spirit souls and the lifeless inert material energy, indeed everything that exists, are all Lord Krishna's potencies. This the Vedic scriptures say. So whether it is the living entity, Jivatma, or it is the Jad Prakriti, the dead matter, lifeless matter, both are potencies of Krishna, Krishna Shakti, right? We are all energies of Krishna. This the scriptures explain. E Jnana Jiva Jane Ami Krishnadas Krishna Mora Nitya Prabhu Chit Surya Prakash. Understanding this truth, the individual spirit soul thinks, I am Lord Krishna's servant. Lord Krishna is my eternal master. He is glorious like the spiritual sun. So once you understand this, you will come to the understanding that I am individual soul, I am Atma, and as Atma, I am Krishnadas. So when we introduce ourselves, this is how we should be introducing ourselves. We are servants of Krishna. So this title that we get after initiation, Krishnadas, whatever the first name is, some name of Krishna or some name of Radharani, and then Das ya Dasi. So that is our most important title. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchyate. So we are after so many designations in this world. Birth after birth, we get so many designations. But these are all temporary designations. The most important designation of the Atma is Krishnadas. That's why when Pratap Rudra Maharaj goes to Lord Chaitanya during the Rath Yatra, and Lord Chaitanya sees him, he's dressed like a ordinary beggar, and he sees Pratap Rudra Maharaj and he's asking him, who are you? So Pratap Rudra Maharaj introduces himself, I am the servant of the servant of the devotees. I am the servant of the Lord. So this was his introduction. And Lord became so happy hearing this introduction of Pratap Rudra Maharaj, because all these titles are superficial designations. King, this, that, superficial designations. The most important title is I am servant of Krishna. So when the individual soul understands this, he thinks, I am Krishnadas, I am servant of Krishna. Krishna Mora Nitya Prabhu. Krishna is my eternal master. And he is like the sun. His glories is like the spiritual sun. In fact, there is this pastime in Chaitanya Leela. One time, generally Lord Chaitanya, when he was in Jagannath Puri, he wouldn't allow devotees to call Lord Chaitanya God, because he wanted to set an example that no one should call themselves God. But one day, all the devotees were very inspired, and they went chanting to the house of Lord Chaitanya, chanting the names of Gauranga. So Lord Chaitanya didn't like hearing this. He was telling them, you all should do Krishna Kirtan. Why are you chanting my names? That time Advaita Acharya, he does something very interesting. With his hand, he tries to cover the sun. So Lord Chaitanya is thinking, what is this person doing? With his hand, he is trying to cover the sun. So Lord Chaitanya asked him, what are you trying to do? He's telling, I'm trying to cover the sun. So Lord Chaitanya told him, how can you cover the sun with your palm? Advaita Acharya said, exactly. You are like that sun. How can you cover your glories? You want to hide your glories, but your glories cannot be hidden. Chit Surya Prakash. So Krishna's glories are like the spiritual sun. Shakti Parinama Matra Veda Shastra Bale Vivartadi Dushtamate Veda Ninda Chale. The Vedas speak the doctrine of Shakti Parinam. The material world is manifested by Lord Krishna's potency. The doctrine of Vivarta, that the Supreme transforms himself to the material world, is false. A trick propounded by the wicked blasphemers of the Vedas. So these are two different opinions. One is of the Vaishnavas, the actual understanding, and the twisted opinion of the Mayavadis. So the Vedas speak about a philosophy called Shakti Parinam. That means this material world is manifestation of Krishna's potency. Krishna's energy comes in the form of the material world. But those who are tricked by the wicked mind, those who are Mayavadis, they say that Vivartavad. So they say that the Supreme has become the material world. So Sarva Kala Ida Brahma. So they say that this material world is only Krishna. But that's not the right understanding. This material world is not Krishna. This material world is the energy of Krishna. It is coming from Krishna. So there is a difference between both. So one is the right understanding of the Vedas, which means that this material world is manifestation of Krishna's potency. But the wrong understanding is this material world only is Krishna, because Krishna has become the material world. So there's a footnote here. The Vedas teach that the world is manifested by the Supreme Lord's inconceivable potencies. The idea that the Supreme transforms himself to the world is an idea very opposed to the Vedas. So the wrong idea is Krishna becomes the material world. He transforms himself into the material world. This is a wrong understanding. The Vedas speak about Shakti Parinam. That means this material world is the manifestation of Krishna Shakti, not Krishna. Krishna doesn't become the material world. Krishna's energy transforms into the material world. Sat Ti Prameya Sambandha Gyan. In the seventh truth, the truth about the relationship between the individual spirit souls and the Supreme Lord is revealed. So these are 7 truths. Right? The 7th truth speaks about Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. So in the 7 truths, Sambandha Gyan is explained. What is Krishna? What is the living entities? And what is the connection between both of them? Eta Sambandha Gyan Shatati Prameya Shruti Shastra Shiksha Dena Ati Upadeya. In this 7th truth, the Vedic scriptures teach about the relationship between the individual soul and the Supreme Lord. Veda Puna Shiksha Dena Abhideya Sar Navavida Krishna Bhakti Vidhi Raga Ar. Then the Vedic scriptures teach about Abhideya, the 9 kinds of devotional service to Lord Krishna, and they also teach about Raga, love for the Lord. So the first 7 teachings of the Vedas speak about Sambandha Gyan, correct? Who is Krishna? What is our position, living entities, and what is the relationship? The 8th teaching of the Vedas speak about Abhideya. Abhideya means 9 kinds of devotional service. So he explains Abhideya in the next verse. Abhideya is Navavidha Bhakti. Abhideya or the 9 limbs of devotional service. Shravana Kirtana, Smriti Pujana Vandana, Paricharya Dasya Sakya Atma Nivedana. The 9 kinds of devotional service are hearing Shravan, chanting Kirtan, remembering Smaran, worshipping the deity in the temple, Pujan, serving Paricharya, carrying out orders, Dasya, praying to the Lord, Vandana, serving Krishna as a friend, Sakya, and sacrificing everything for him, Atma Nivedana. Bhaktira Prakara Madhye Nama Sarvasar, Pranava Mahatmya Veda Karena Prachar. Of these activities of devotional service, the activity of chanting the holy name is the best. Therefore, the Vedas preached the glories of chanting the sacred syllable Om. So, out of the 9 processes of devotional service, the best is chanting Nama Sankirtana. Bhaktira Prakara Madhye Nama Sarva Sar. That is the essence of all the Vedic literatures. That means the essence of all the process of Abhideya, how to achieve God. The simplest process is holy name. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatar Anyata. This is like that essence of all the Vedic literatures of Navvidha Bhakti is to chant the holy name. And finally, the 9th teaching, Prayojan Krishna Prema. Prayojan is pure love for Krishna. So this is our ultimate goal. This is our aspiration. We are all looking for love for Krishna. So if someone asks you, what are you come to the process of Krishna consciousness for? So we have come here to revive the original love for Krishna. So it's not that it will come from outside. That love for Krishna is already there. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabu Noy Shravanadya Shuddha Chitte Kariye Uday. That love is already there in our heart. We have to just rekindle it. How? Through the process of Navida Bhakti. Shuddha Bhakti Samashraya Kariya Manava Krishna Kripa Bale Paya Premere Vaibhava. When a human being takes shelter of pure devotion service, he eventually attains a great wealth of pure love for Lord Krishna by the power of his mercy. So when we take shelter, Samashraya, Shuddha Bhakti, when we take shelter of pure Bhakti, not mixed Bhakti. If you take shelter of mixed Bhakti, Mishra Bhakti, you will not attain Krishna Prem. You may attain Mukti, but you will not get Krishna Prem. For Krishna Prem, one has to follow Shuddha Bhakti. Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavratam Anukulena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhakti Uttamam. Without Gyan, without Karma, pure Bhakti if you practice, one will definitely attain the highest wealth. Krishna Kripa Bale Paya Premera Vaibhava. The greatest wealth, Krishna Prem, one will attain. How? By the mercy of Krishna only. Krishna Kripa Bale, by the strength of Krishna's mercy. So there is a footnote here. Pure devotional service, Shuddha Bhakti, here refers to favorable service to Lord Krishna. Service where the devotee has no desire other than the desire for devotional service, and where the devotee is untouched by karma or jnana. So pure bhakti means without any tinge of karma or jnana. Jnana karmadi anavritam, not covered by karma or jnana. No other desire. Anya abhilashita shunyam. Anya abhilashita means no other desire other than the desire to please Krishna. That condition of heart is called pure devotional service. Devotional service mixed with karma or jnana cannot be said to be pure devotional service. So this was one of the final teachings of Ramanujacharya, that one should focus on pure bhakti. One should take shelter of the holy name and engage in pure devotional service. This is the final teaching of all Vedic scriptures. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur very beautifully, in this one chapter, he explains the 10 teachings of the Vedas. I mean, it's very difficult for all of us to study the Vedas, but very simply he's given us this 10 teachings. And the summary is Krishna Prem. If we engage in pure bhakti, chant the holy name sincerely, we are following the conclusion of the Vedas. Vedanta. What is the conclusion of the Vedas? Bhakti. So that's why Srila Prabhupada's name is Bhakti Vedanta. Bhakti is the conclusion of all Vedas. And what does bhakti mean? Bhakti means Nama Sankirtan. That's it. So the conclusion of all Vedas is Nama Sankirtan. So what we are chanting, the process of chanting Hare Krishna in ISKCON is not an ordinary thing. This is like the essence of all the Vedas that we are doing. Right? So that's why there are so many verses that glorify anyone who's chanting Hare Krishna. It is understood that he has studied the Vedas. Otherwise, one cannot come to the stage of chanting Hare Krishna. Right? It is only in some previous life we have studied the Vedas. That is why we are getting this opportunity to chant Hare Krishna. So we will stop here. We will continue from this point the next time. So this was in summary the 10 teachings of the Vedas, the Dashamula Tattva. Hope it was okay and not confusing. Anyone has any questions, any comments? Okay. Was it clear? You all can at least put a text message. Did you all understand, or it went above your head? Was it clear and simple? Yeah, Param Dalu Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Actually, the Vedas teaches about Jnana Kanda and Karma Kanda, and also the pure devotional service, Prabhu.
Correct.
This Bhagavad Gita also and Bhagavatam also, it comes under the Vedas.
Yeah, it comes under the Vedas. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah. So those who want, see, basically it all depends on what you want. Correct. So Vedas is like that supermarket, right? When you go to a supermarket, you may find so many products, but you will go to that section depending on what you want to purchase. So if you want enjoyment in this world, then you will go to the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas. If you want liberation, you will go to the Jnana Kanda section of the Vedas. But if you want Krishna Prem, then you will read the Bhakti section, the section of the Veda that describe Upasana Kand, right? Speak about Shuddha Bhakti, you will read that. So it all depends on what you want. So the Vedas is like that wish fulfilling tree, right? Whatever you want, the Vedas will give you. If you want enjoyment, the Vedas tell you, "Theek hai, follow this section." If you want liberation, follow this section. So it all depends on what you want. So if you understand that the conclusion of the Vedas is Prem, Krishna Prem, then you will stick to only those sections where Shuddha Bhakti is spoken about. Okay, so Mataji is asking, if knowledge and karma are not to be considered and only devotion service, then why read the scriptures? Yeah, so that's why reading scriptures means what? For us, reading scriptures means reading scriptures that speak about Shuddha Bhakti, Gita, Bhagavad. So when we refer to scriptures, right, when devotees, Vaishnavas refer to scriptures, they refer to scriptures that speak about Shuddha Bhakti. That's what we refer to, right? That's our reference. Because we have crossed that stage. See, the Vedas, as I told you, have different entry level points. So, whoever and whatever level you are, you may get an entry. So, but as devotees of Krishna, we realize that there is no point in studying the Karma Kand, Jnana Kand section of the Vedas. We have already risen above that. We understand that we don't even want enjoyment. We don't want liberation. We want to achieve Krishna. So why do we have to waste time studying those scriptures? So those sections of the Vedas are for people who have not understood the conclusion. For those who have understood the conclusion, they did not waste time in reading those scriptures, those sections. You can focus on scriptures, sections in the Vedas that speak about pure bhakti. So if we read Gita, Bhagavat, then there is no problem. But if we keep on reading other sections of the Vedas, then it may lead to confusion. Right? You're getting the point, Mataji? Okay. So I think we'll stop here for today. So next week, I'm not sure whether we'll have the class. I'll keep you all updated. I'm actually traveling, but we'll see. If possible, we'll try to do, or otherwise, some other devotee can have on some other topic we can do. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.